So I was diagnosed with cancer just over a year ago, a rare form of cancer. And I talked to my doctors at the time, and they did what they could for me. And I decided at the time that I didn't want to be a victim to it. And so I started doing research on my own to see whether there was anything I can do to at least give my body the best fighting chance it could have. So I did as broad a search as I could on cancer and lifestyle type issues. That started leading me down the nutrition path. And lo and behold, I started coming up with all of these authors that were all saying almost the same thing, which was animal products are generally not health promoting. Plant products are, and here's why. And Dr. McDougall's name started coming up over and over and over again in almost all of the research that I was doing. So I ended up reading some of Dr. McDougall's books. I also read the China Study by Colin Campbell, and I got very interested in it. And I came to an advanced weekend just about a year ago today, and after my diagnosis, and I learned more in that advanced study weekend about not just nutrition, but about my life and my place in this world than I had ever learned before. And it really inspired me to start telling people what I was learning. And then from my own personal experience, things that I didn't even think about. My doctors had been telling me that my cholesterol was really high and that it was hereditary, so I had to go on statin drugs. This was before my cancer diagnosis. And that my blood sugar levels were at a pre-diabetic level, and so I might have to start taking insulin at some point, because that was also hereditary, because my father had diabetes. And other things, triglycerides were high, and I had to take drugs for that, and I didn't, because it was still at a point where the doctors were saying, well, pretty soon you're going to have to start taking these things. And lo and behold, I went on this diet, and everything normalized. And my doctors were shocked. Everything, my cholesterol, triglycerides, blood sugars, everything just normalized for me. And I felt better, I felt healthier, I felt more energetic, I lost 40 pounds. It was just a transformation of everything that I had known before into what I now understood to be the truth. A very quick story about my father. He decided to start following this to support me. He didn't think that it was going to do anything for him. He was also on the good old or bad old American diet. But he started reading the books, and he said, to support my son, I'm going to do this. He was on, was it 16 or 17 pills a day?
17 pills a day. So
he was taking 17 pills a day. Metformin for diabetes, all kinds of pills for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all kinds of different problems that he had throughout his life, digestive issues. He's now taking 0 pills. His blood pressure is perfectly normal. It has never been normal. For the last 16, 17 years, his blood pressure was never normal. His blood sugar is completely under control. His cholesterol levels are down to normal. He feels a lot better. He's sleeping better. It was really miraculous. If we hadn't seen it in that dramatic a way in our family, I don't know that we would have believed it. I certainly didn't believe a lot of it until I started really meeting all of the folks that are the pioneers in this field.
For me, it was also an issue of solidarity at first with my brother, just going along with him on this journey. And we used to frequently go out to steak dinners together and catch up on each other's lives that way. And I thought, well, let's continue doing that, but instead over a steak, let's do it over a salad. I want to make sure I continue to foster that great relationship that I have with my brother. And so it became just an issue of solidarity and loyalty with him. And sure enough, I started seeing dramatic changes in me as well. Within just weeks, I was shedding weight. My cholesterol went down. My blood sugar was going down, and my levels were not alarming. My doctors had never told me that my cholesterol was too high, that my blood sugar was too high, that I was overweight. But I just started seeing it in myself, and in a matter of a few weeks, a couple months, I had lost over 30 pounds. My cholesterol had dropped by 40 points. My fasting blood glucose was consistently in the 80s, whereas before it hovered in the 90s. And I just started feeling great. And so something that started as a way to have this solidarity with my brother, all of a sudden started infusing me with all this wonderful energy and life force. Some of my close friends have also been turned on this diet. One example I can give you is a very good friend of mine who went to a top-ranked medical school and is now a surgeon at a very elite and prominent teaching hospital in LA, told me, well, I've been told that my cholesterol's up, and I'm not sure what to do about it. And I said, hey, listen, just try this out. Just give it a shot. If you don't like it, look, we can talk again and forget about it. So sure enough, he emails me. First, it was about 10 days later. He said, wow, I've lost some weight already. I feel really good. So he kept at it. And lo and behold, his cholesterol is normalized. He shed a bunch of weight. And he told me, I didn't learn this in medical school. And what's really interesting, I'm finding a lot of closet vegans within the medical industry. And so it's really transformed not only our lives, but it has had the ripple effect of affecting a lot of people's lives that we care about. And so, we really owe an enormous debt to people like John McDougall and these giants in the field that really have transformed our lives and so many of the lives of the people that we love. So it's really been wonderful.
Not only did it allow it to regain our health, but it's given us hope. For me, my cancer is something that I'm continuing to monitor and to deal with, but I know that at least being healthier gives my body the best fighting chance it has. And that's something that is very empowering, whether you have cancer or something else, knowing that there's something you can do, that you can help your body to have the best fighting chance that it can have. And along the way, you can get rid of your high cholesterol and your high triglycerides and your high blood sugars and everything that was leading down a path of other chronic diseases that were going to make your life miserable and most likely end it much earlier than you ever would have thought. And one of the things that I hear a lot from friends of mine who now have read the books, they've read the China study or they read Dr. McDougall's books, is they say, well, if I do get something, then I'll change then. And I say to them, yeah, but by then, it's not that it may be too late. It's that at that point, it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more difficult to reverse something than to prevent it. And if nothing else, our experience in our family and my experience with my diagnosis ought to help people to understand that. And if it wasn't for doctors like Dr. McDougall and like Dr. Clapper and like Dr. Furman, I wouldn't have the basis for telling them this stuff. Because a lot of people see this and they think, what is this all about? High cholesterol, you take drugs. And, high blood pressure, you take drugs. This is dangerous. And your dad, he's taking his pills because he needs them. So when you have the science and you have people as serious and as knowledgeable as Dr. McDougall and Dr. Campbell, and you can show people this evidence, you can give them these books, it's such a powerful message that people that are intelligent, reasonable, they read this and they think, this sounds like it's right. And then it's just the next step. And the only thing that I think we can do is act as examples for them, as Dr. McDougall and all of the other pioneers have been examples for us.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is that it's not just a remedial measure that you should be thinking about when you adopt this change or this lifestyle. It's an enhancement. I mean, I have a lot more energy. I live better. My quality of life is markedly better than it was before. So, don't wait, and don't wait until you have that chronic illness. Make your life better now. That's what makes sense to do.
And if you think that it's difficult to do, what I would tell anybody out there that might be watching this is, come to one of these weekends and eat the food here. and then tell me that you can't do this because you're going to miss your steaks and you're going to miss your milk and your cheese and you're not going to enjoy the food. If you think that's the problem, just come here for one of these weekends and eat the food and then see what you think afterwards.
For me, it's been very important to see this empower my brother, and to see this really boost his confidence and enhance his life, as he battles with his diagnosis and his disease, and just seeing him, take ownership of this and forge forward in a way, as he said earlier, not as a victim, but as a thriver and as somebody who's proactive in doing this on his own, is not only incredibly admirable, but it's contagious, and so it has enhanced our lives in immeasurable ways.